I once gave my boss my resignation letter on a Tuesday, and by Friday, I had a new job offer. Same company, better pay, more flexibility, and I reported directly to the CEO. Managing up didn't just save my job, it got me promoted without me even asking. And if you're a Black woman stuck between doing great work and actually getting recognized for it, this is the skill nobody teaches you, but it's the one that will change your career. I'm Dr. Nicole Bryan. I'm an executive leadership psychologist, and today I'm breaking down the real strategy behind managing up. Not the corporate fluff, but what actually works when you're navigating power, politics, and being the only one in the room. So let's get into it. Now, here's what most people get wrong about managing up. They think it's about kissing up or being fake or code switching so hard that you lose yourself. That is not managing up. That's when you're in survival mode. Real managing up is about strategic communication. It's about understanding what your boss needs, making their job easier, and positioning yourself so that when opportunities come, you are top of mind. It's not manipulation, it is influence. And as a Black woman, you need it even more because the rules are different for us. So here's a little truth. Your white colleagues are managing up. They're just calling it something different, like building relationships or having coffee with leadership. But when we do it, we're called calculating, aggressive, too ambitious. So let me be absolutely clear. Managing up is not about changing who you are. It's about being strategic while also staying authentic. And here's why it matters so much for us. You're less likely to have a sponsor advocating for you behind closed doors. Because you are a Black woman, you face more scrutiny and higher standards than your peers. Managing up levels the playing field for you. It puts you in control of the narrative about your career. Now, let me tell you the story of how I learned this the hard way. I was working at the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation in New York. Beautiful organization, prestigious, mission driven work. But here's the thing, I had a matrix reporting structure. I reported into the head of HR at the time for the foundation, but I was assigned to support one of their subsidiary startups. And those two worlds, they did not align. The foundation had policies, budgets, and processes that worked for a well established nonprofit. But the startup that I was supporting, it needed agility, speed, and flexibility that the foundation HR just didn't understand. I loved my HR boss. We had a great relationship, but I was outgrowing her leadership. The tension kept building because what she needed from me and what my CEO needed from me were two different things. So one day, I did what I thought was my only option. I gave my notice. I walked into her office and I said, I need to resign. I'll give you 3 to 4 weeks. But here's what I didn't know. I had been managing up to my CEO the entire time without even realizing it. See, every time I had a challenge, I didn't just bring problems, I brought him solutions. Every time there was a decision to make, I made sure he understood the context and the options. And every time we had a one on one, I came prepared with an agenda, my agenda, not just reaching or reacting to whatever he wanted to talk about. I had built trust currency with him, and I didn't even understand how much I had in the bank. So before I could even tell him I was leaving, he called me. Meet me at the coffee spot on 53rd and Lex. Let's sit outside and let's talk. I had no idea what was happening. I thought it was just a confidential conversation about the business. But he sat me down and he said, Terry told me you resigned. Before you go, I need to understand why. Is this something that I can fix? We talked for about 45 minutes. I explained the tension, the misalignment, the frustration of being caught between two bosses with two different priorities. And he said, "What if you worked for me directly? What if you didn't report to HR anymore? You just reported to me?" I left that coffee shop with a new job offer, more money, more flexibility, and direct access to the CEO, all because I had been managing up consistently, even when I didn't call it that. That's the power of managing up. It is not about politics, it's about relationships, it's about trust, and it's about strategic visibility. Now, let me break down the myths that keep Black women from managing up effectively, because I see these all the time in my coaching practice. Myth number one: if I'm good at my job, that should be enough. False. Your work does not speak for itself, especially not for us as Black females. If you're waiting for someone to notice your excellence, you're going to be waiting a long, long time. You have to make your work visible, and that includes managing up. Myth number two: my boss should just know what I need. Again, false. Your boss is not a mind reader, and they're dealing with their own pressures, their own boss, their own insecurities. You have to tell them what you need to be successful, not in a demanding way, but in a strategic, collaborative way. Myth number three: I have to like my boss to manage up. Girl, don't get me started. That is so false. You do not have to be friends. You don't even have to like your boss. You just have to understand them, understand their pressures, their goals, their communication style, and work with that. Myth number four: there's a power dynamic I can't change. Actually, you have more influence than you think. Yes, of course, there's a hierarchy in your company, but managing up is about shifting from reactive to being proactive. You may not have positional power, but you have relationship power, you have expertise power, and you have strategic power. And that's what we're going to use. All right, so let's shift to brass tactics. Let's talk about what you actually need to do. Three strategies that you can start using this week. The first strategy is understanding your boss's world. Look, your boss is under pressure too. They have a boss. They have metrics. They have deliverables. They have problems that you don't even see or know about. So ask yourself, what does success look like for them? What are they being measured on? What keeps them up at night? Now, when you understand their world, you can position yourself and your work as the solutions to their problems. That's exactly what I did with my CEO. I didn't just focus on my tasks and my responsibilities. I thought about his goals and how I could make his life easier. The second strategy is take control of your one-on-ones. Now, if you're not doing this, this is a quick and easy lift. Stop showing up to one-on-ones and waiting for your boss to set the agenda. You set the agenda. Send it in advance. Make it about the progress that you've made, the challenges you're navigating, what you need from them. This is not about asking for permission to do your job. It's about positioning yourself as a strategic partner, not just someone who reports to them and who executes tasks. When my CEO and I met, I always came prepared. He knew I wasn't wasting his time, and that built trust. The third strategy that you can start doing right away is become a problem solver, not a problem bringer. Now, this is huge for us as Black women because we're often seen as difficult or complaining when we raise issues. So here's the shift. Don't just bring problems. Bring the problems with potential solutions. You'll say something like, here's the issue. I've thought through three possible options. Here's what I recommend and why. What are your thoughts? Now you're not complaining, you're leading. You're making their job easier, and that's what gets remembered. Now, here's what I want you to think about and internalize. Managing up is not about being fake. It is about being strategic. It's about taking responsibility for your own career because no one else is going to do it for you. That coffee shop conversation that I had with my CEO, it did not happen by accident. It happened because I had spent months building trust, delivering results, and making my CEO's job easier. And when the moment came, he fought to keep me. You deserve that too. So here's your challenge. Pick one of the three strategies that we talked about today and do it this week. Remember, the three strategies are understanding your boss's world. And if you don't know, ask him or ask her. Second strategy is taking control of your next one on one. You do not want to be the person who allows your boss to tell you what you should be talking about in your one on ones. And by the way, if you don't have one on ones with your boss right now, you need to set them up. Simply ask to get on their calendar on a regular basis, once every 2 weeks, once a month, once a week if you're carrying a heavy load. Regardless of the timing, take control of your one on ones. And the third strategy is bring a problem and bring potential solutions. Now, if today's topic resonated with you, let me know in the comments. And if you've got a managing up story, good or bad, tell me about it. I want to hear from you. Subscribe if you haven't already. And remember that I drop new videos every Thursday at 7 a.m. Till next time, Lady Leader, keep leading your introvert way.